The first step will be to remove the heat shield from the front carrier. If you have an Evo 8, you may not have this. Then we're going to unbolt both the carriers to let the drive shaft hang down. Next, we're going to cut off the OEM carrier frame. To do this, we'll make 2 cuts on the top side of the carrier. Next, we're going to trim the rubber off the OEM bearing. We have to do this very carefully. It's very specific. There's 3 cuts we're going to make. The first one is, as you can see, we're going to go around and we're basically just making a cut to release what's left of that frame. Now we're going to go around just in front of the bearing and make a cut in. Basically, you're just removing all the rubber that's forward of the bearing. The third cut is going to be to remove the high spot on the front of the bearing. So you're trying to make a level surface that's at the same height as the rear of the bearing. Next, take the 2 halves of the carrier with the bushings installed, put them around the bearing, then attach the 2 together with an Allen wrench. As you're tightening it up, make sure to go back and forth from left to right so the bolts don't bind in the holes. It's normal for a small gap to form between the 2 bushings as the bushings are compressing when being tightened. Now we'll repeat the process on the rear carrier. Make 2 cuts on the top to cut the OEM carrier off. Now we'll make the same 3 cuts with the razor blade. The first one is going to be to cut this metal frame that's left over off. Go all the way around, cutting in pretty much anywhere on the rubber bushing. The second cut will be to cut just in front of the bearing, remove the excess rubber. The final cut will be to trim down the high spot to make it flat and level with the back of the bearing. Now we'll attach the new carrier, put the 2 halves around the bearing, attach the 2 together with the supplied bolts, and tighten with an Allen wrench. As you're tightening it up, make sure to switch back and forth from left to right so the bolts don't bind in the holes. A small gap may form between the bushings. This is normal. Now we're going to bolt the carriers up. Found it easiest to start with the rear one. And take the 2 small washers and just put them up on the studs right away. They should hold themselves up there. Then take one of your stud adapters, put the big fender washer on it, take an isolation damper facing up, then go up into the carrier, and then come down from the top with another isolation damper. Same thing on the other side, stud adapter, fender washer, isolation damper facing up, go up into the carrier, then bring another isolation damper down from the top. Now we'll move to the front carrier, put your small washers up on the studs. And assemble the stack ups on the feet, go stud adapter, fender washer, isolation damper up through the carrier, another isolation damper coming down from the top.